Hey there, TARDIS travelers. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and it's been a while since I had the fortune of talking about Doctor Who on my channel, or felt the motivation to really talk about Doctor Who, ever since Peter Capaldi's swan song over this past Christmas. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting in the wings to find out more about Series 11 and the oncoming 13th Doctor debut of Jodie Whittaker. And we finally got a teaser that dropped today as of the time of this recording, which was all kinds of exciting as far as I'm concerned. There were so many little things put into it. I watched it like half a dozen times, each time scrutinizing certain bits. Like, the first few times through it, I was, looking at the visuals and everything, trying to get all the visual cues down and see what was going on exactly. And then the last passover through the, teaser, I was focusing in on what was being said in the background because I thought, maybe it was like a news broadcast that would give us a tip of the hat to what was going to be coming, and it's actually to do with like the World Cup or whatever it is. It's like a sports information going on in the background. But I love how it ends with the announcer saying they have the makings of a great team, and it's really exciting to see what's going to be coming. That kind of thing. How that pertains to each of the three companions we're debuted to in this particular teaser. I don't know all of their character names, but I wrote down, of course, the actors. Of course, we see Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor, but we see Tosin Cole, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, in the first segment of this, having like breakfast or something in a diner. We see Mandeep Gill with friends in what I'm assuming is her apartment or her friend's apartment, and the pizza switcheroo that happens there. And then, of course, Bradley Walsh ends it all out. And this is where the nods come in, I immediately noticed how his newspaper had been switched out for the Beano magazine or whatever it is, like a comic strip compilation kind of thing. And I recognized that title because, I've been a long-time comic book fan to begin with. But I actually remembered it from something that hails back to Matt Smith's era. And I find this really intriguing, a reference back to Matt Smith, because there was an article where somebody was quoted as describing Jodie's Doctor as being somewhat akin to the 11th Doctor, to the way Matt Smith portrayed the 11th Doctor. Youthful, inquisitive, kooky, and maybe a little alien and things like that were kind of the gist that I got from the quote. And so there are two that I noticed references that kind of harken back to that era, to the Matt Smith era. From the very beginning, we see what appears to be a fish finger being dipped in custard, or already has custard on it, or as someone pointed out to me over on Facebook, it looks like it was being dipped into egg, a plate of egg and beans and whatever like that, whatever they call that over the pond. I don't exactly know, but for all intents and purposes, I noticed the fish finger from right off, and it is the Doctor's hand, presumably dipping it, and with the electricity all surrounding it, all of The Flash, CW's The Flash. And so each of these three companions, the overall gist of this seems to be the oncoming awareness that their lives are about to be impacted by strangeness and wonder and everything like that. And the Doctor, as maybe a premonition of these three individuals becoming her companions, is visiting them maybe before they're actually introduced and playing little manipulations in their lives, that kind of thing. Again, swapping out the pizza. Mandeep Gill's character, is sort of looking at her friend who took the last slice out of the box, and then all of a sudden the electrified current happens and she becomes aware of something. They're shaking and everything like that, much as was the case in the first scene in the diner. And suddenly there's a whole pizza in the box with what might have been, spinach or something slathered all over the top of it. And I just thought that was really cool. Again, the Doctor's influencing these people before properly, having them as her TARDIS traveling companions. But the other thing, again, to go back to the references to Matt Smith's Doctor, was the Beano magazine being swapped out for the newspaper during Bradley Walsh's segment. And I don't know if this is meant to harken back to a time in his youth, in his past. Maybe it's a tip of the hat to where, like an era we're going to be going and visiting in Series 11. Because I think it's 1981 or something like that the magazine has date stamped on it. Sometime in the 80s. I don't remember the exact numeric date. But this was the exact copy of the Beano magazine featured in a Matt Smith episode. Now, you'll have to forgive me because I could not, for the life of me, think of off the top of my head what episode it was with Matt Smith. But there is a sequence where he is sitting on a swing, a swing set in a park. I don't know if this is the episode where he met the young Clara Oswald, like as a child. I think maybe that's what was happening. But he was reading the exact copy of the Beano magazine that Bradley Walsh later has put into his hands in place of the newspaper he was formerly reading in the diner in this teaser. And I just have to wonder, as somebody who has called the BBC out on their crap and speculated as to whether or not Peter Capaldi was sort of forced out of the role of, the 12th Doctor because of his age and because of a poor viewership, as some people tried to say in tabloids and things like that. I really don't know the here or there on all of that. But some part of me did, have to wonder if the overemphasis on calling back to the 11th Doctor era is for fear that, they won't get the younger viewership in. Like, they have to assure the younger potential viewers that, hey, we're dealing with a younger, fresher Doctor here. No fears or worries need be concerned about, having a cranky old man with gray curls with the angry eyebrows anymore. We're going to have the young, aloof, funny, alien, goofy Doctor once again, or something like that. I don't know if those are the motivations behind this at all. It's just my speculation, why they would end up focusing on the 11th Doctor era with the fish finger, with the Beano magazine and things. And I guess it stands to argument whether, casual viewers, younger viewers would even notice these things, lest we, the Whovians, who are going to be picking it apart from scene to scene, every millisecond to millisecond. But, that's just my observations on it overall. And, of course, all of this comes on the coattails of, we had some leaked footage, which really, got up the BBC's ire. I did see it. I was thoroughly won over by Jodie's portrayal in it, sort of taking place on like a bus or like a subway train kind of thing. And she's talking to two police officers. And I just really loved her portrayal in that opening sort of scene. I don't know if this is what's going to be shown subsequently at Comic-Con, or if we're going to get a proper trailer, whereas this was a teaser that I'm reacting to today, or not. I don't know what they're going to be showing, but presumably they're going to show something bigger and maybe a little grander at Comic-Con, hopefully in any case, as I believe Jodie and some of her, co-stars are going to be appearing there. And I'm maybe wrong about that as well, but this is not the only thing that we've had drop in the last week and a half. There were also lots of promotional images, an Entertainment Weekly article. There's a whole calendar that features Jodie as the 13th, as well as her companions. And, it's like if you've been living under a rock, maybe you don't know about this stuff. Maybe you don't care. I primarily cover anime these days on my channel. But I still have a big-time soft spot, two hearts, for Doctor Who, and any opportunity I get to talk about it when it really gets up my excitement, that's what I want to do, and that's what I wanted to do today. And so with that, in the description below, I will have a link to the teaser so you can check it out, of course. If you want to see any other news to do with Doctor Who, I highly recommend you go subscribe to my friend Dr. Freedom, whose channel I will also link below, who covers everything and anything to do with Doctor Who. There is some language sometimes, there is some spoilery stuff sometimes, but he's very good about putting the spoiler warnings in his news updates and everything like that. Just in case you want to really, follow along, put your nose to the grindstone on every little bit of stuff that's been coming out, because that's largely where I get my news from. That doesn't happen to, show up, on Facebook or in my inbox somewhere. So in any case, that's pretty much all I have to say on this teaser. A lot to say about the teaser, apparently a lot more than I thought. But I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you're stoked for Series 11, if you're stoked for the 13th Doctor, the first female iteration of the Doctor. I know there's still a lot of hate for that, and I really just don't have any time for that, frankly. If you're hating on it, if you're not going to give it a chance, don't bother me with your BS. I just don't want to hear it anymore. Because I'm stoked, I'm excited, I can't wait for it. And this really has my excitement up. I cannot wait to see Series 11 debut and to see what Jodie Whittaker brings to the role and what her companions. I'm stoked about all three of her companions, even without having seen this, just seeing the promotional imagery that came out from Entertainment Weekly and stuff like that. But actually seeing them you know, moving around and reacting to something. You know, it just really gets me excited. So yeah, let me know, love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below, what you thought of this particular teaser. You know, if you think we're actually going to be getting a more full, lengthy trailer, you know, at Comic-Con, SDCC, or if we're going to get like a, you know, an exclusive clip or something like that, whether or not you think it's going to be the leaked clip we already saw, which, you know, got somebody in trouble, most likely. And otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.